Welcome to part 2 of our 100-part series on how to build a house. For this next part, we're going to go ahead and start digging the plumbing. Now, when you start digging the plumbing, it's important you have a plan, which I do have. Now, the important thing about this plan is you figure out your length and your first fixture. Your first fixture will determine your elevation throughout the entire process, because you're going to start at a high spot and go to a low spot, which is where your main drain is. According to this plan, my highest fixture is a toilet closet bend right here. It's going to travel down to this corner, travel across here, pick up a couple more bathrooms, and then go all the way to the edge of the house and then dump out into the main drain. That length has been determined to be about 60 feet. Knowing that, we know that 1/4 inch per foot is what we're trying to achieve here. We should see 15 inches of drop by the time we're done with our trenches. To start off, I've actually mocked up that exact situation here in PVC for the very first fixture. This is a 3-inch sanitary tee. This is a 3-inch combo. And here's your closet bend, a spool, and everything else you need to put it all together. This right up here is a 3x2 flush bushing. So, this right here I want under the concrete, and I just want it like that because it's easier to detail, and I'll send my 2-inch vent line up through the concrete pad and I'll protect it. So I'm going to set this at 4.5 below finished grade. So when I go over there, I will actually dig a hole, set this down in it until it is exactly 4.5 inches under finished grade. This right here will not be an issue, as it will also fall underneath the concrete for the most part. If a little of this gets in it, I don't worry too much. There'll be a riser here, and a closet flange will go on top, and that will be where the toilet rests. This side down here will connect to a clean out that's on the outside of the house, which just is convenient, so it all works together. So let's go ahead and start digging, and then we'll set it in there. So we've dug our first couple of trenches. Now I'm checking to make sure that this sits exactly how I want it to sit. We've set up these stakes here just to show us where our toilet's going to be, and this piece of wood right here is the actual top of our finished grade. As you can see, everything seems to work just fine. We've got maybe about 5 inches here. I was shooting for 4.5, but that's all right. You can see the closet bend is under. I don't think this is level, but if it were, we're pretty good. This grade right here is what I've used to build the rest of the trench. I'm going to take a shot with my laser here, and every 12 feet I will increase it by 8 inches, or excuse me, 3 inches. So I thought it might be a good idea to show you guys how a laser level works, how you set one up, and how you use it. Right here we have a laser level. This is a 3 plane one, but we're only going to be using the horizontal right now. I've already leveled this tripod, but this model also self-levels after the fact. You just follow the manufacturer's instructions on how to get going. Usually it'll have a line version and a pulse version. For most of our work outside with large areas, we'll be using the pulse version. This is the detector and the rod. Now the detector is just simply a thing that beeps. It tells you when you're on level, or where you need to be according to your laser. So there you go, it tells you where you're at. Now this rod has 2 sides. This side is the inch side, and you can tell because it has 11s on it, which means all these dimensions are an inch. On the back side is in tenths. So when you're doing tenths, you're most likely just laying out a pad or checking grade. Surveyors like to use tenths. It's easier to divide them, and maybe you'll use them at some point. For laying out plumbing, most plumbing is dictated by inches. You can use this side. Makes it real easy to do your calculations in the field. So, let me go set up this level direct with our piece of plumbing we just set up over there. As you can see, once I keyed it in, our actual elevation above that area per this rod is 5 feet and just shy of 8.5. So this is probably 8 and, I don't know, 3/8 or so. So 5, 8, 3/8. We'll need to know that for when we go along. You can move along your trench. Every 4 feet is 1 inch. Now, counterintuitively, as you're trying to go down in the trench, you move up on your rod. This lengthens this part of the rod, pushing your trench downward. So that's pretty important. So now we've finished our trench to the outside of the house, and we figured it'd be about 15 inches of drop. So I went ahead and set up. We started at 5, 8, and 3/8. I went ahead and moved up 1 foot plus 3 inches. So here I'm at 11 and 3/8. And it looks pretty good. I'm getting that beep. I'm within reason anyways. So that's how you do it. So let me show you one of the troubles we had. When you dig 2 trenches perpendicular to each other, you have the capacity to cave one of them in really badly, or cave a corner. You can see this happen pretty much twice, even though we're trying to avoid it. So the idea is to start here in the center of the 3 pieces coming together and pull from either side. And there's another technique I came up with that I'll show you here in a second. So here we are on that that situation where we have to cross perpendicular to another trench. And you can see, look really closely, that right there, it's already started to try to shelve off. I'm going to try to avoid that by digging backwards, by pushing the dirt into the trench behind it. So let's see if I can actually help this. A little hard to do with one hand. Obviously this would be a little bit easier with two hands. Or maybe I can invest in some sort of bracket for my camera. So anyways, I hope you get the drift. By pushing it back, I'm not going to put pressure on that corner, and I'll be able to scoop out the loose dirt later.